Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So in this video, we're going to talk about day 21 of this mushroom murder trial. Oh my God, it seems to be going on forever, doesn't it? A lot of technical evidence that we've been supplied with, isn't it? Technical information, about data, about mushrooms, about investigations, so there's been a lot of information come out in this trial. It's been very interesting, but quite intense, isn't it? And this week in particular, we're now on the third day of this week, if you like, and it's been a very intense week because there's been full days every day. In other weeks of this trial, there's been maybe they've had a day off, or there's been a day of only sort of a little bit of evidence, or not, breaks, lots of breaks, or, questions asked, etc. But this week it's been real full on evidence every day, full days, and lots of interesting stuff, I think, that's come out this week. And this is, of course, the 5th week. And it was only forecast to last one more week after this. And then right at the beginning of the trial, the judge said, Justice Beale said that he thought it would last, it would be a lot shorter than they had originally thought, but it doesn't look like it's going that way, does it? Can't see it being finished by the end of this week. I mean, there's still 2 more days to go, but Friday they only do a half day normally. So it looks like it is going to go into that 6th week next week. So for anybody who maybe doesn't know about this, that may be watching, I'll just give you a little very quick summary. This is a very tragic story of these 4 people were invited to lunch at Erin Patterson's house. Erin invited them to lunch, and it was quite strange, really, because her in-laws, Don and Gail, are the parents of her estranged husband, Simon. I've got a picture of him somewhere. Now, they'd been to Erin's house for lunch before. This is all in Australia. Don and Gail had been to Erin's house before. But the other 2 unfortunates, Heather and Ian Wilkinson, Heather is Gail's sister, and her husband Ian, they had never been to Erin's house for lunch before. And they were delighted to be invited, apparently. And at the lunch, I need to get a picture of a beef Wellington to show. But at the lunch, Erin served them with beef Wellington, which allegedly was laced with these toxic, highly toxic mushrooms, death cap mushrooms. And within a couple of days, 3 of these people were dead. They showed, they presented at the hospital with terrible symptoms. And within 3 days, I think it was, these 3 people were all deceased. And Ian is the only survivor. And so the trial is, the accusations are against Erin Patterson that she deliberately put these death cap mushrooms in this beef Wellington, deliberately, to at least make them ill, if not to actually kill them. So this is the trial. She's on trial for the murder, for 3 murders, triple murder. I mean, that's triple murder is pretty intense, isn't it? And the attempted murder of Ian, who survived. So that's the trial. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole trial, just enough to let you know that there is a playlist we're on day 21 now, but there is a playlist right down from the first day of this trial, and that is linked in description. So if you want to know, the full story right from day one of the trial, you need to have a look at the playlist. Okay, so as I say, here we are in day 21. And what we're going to talk about today is a few things that came up in the trial overnight in Australia, because of course in Australia it's daytime when it's nighttime here in Spain, which is where I'm based. And I think some of the most notable things that come up in day 21 is Erin's cancer lies are exposed even more. Erin lied about having cancer, even lied about having certain tests, etc. And it's turned out that that is not true. That comes up in this testimony. And also, where is Erin's missing mobile phone? So there's a mobile phone. Erin handed over a phone to the police, but really there was hardly anything on that phone. And there is a missing mobile phone that still hasn't been found. So that's what we're going to hear about in this testimony today. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being subscribers. If you're not subscribed yet, please think about subscribing. It's absolutely free. And thank you to all of you that already have subscribed. And don't forget to press the notification bell. Press all notifications. Then you will get to know every time I do an update on this case or any other that we're covering. Okay. Oh, thank you to those of you who are members. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, is members only live. There are some new emojis on the members section. There's the Pinocchio, especially for this case, really, the Pinocchio emoji, and of course the mushroom emoji, which a lot of you members have been using. Thank you. So yeah, thank you for being members. Thank you for those of you who've bought me Ko-Fis, sent me super stickers. It's very much appreciated. And thank you to the nice emails that I receive, and also for any messages, any positive impact you have on my channel. Thank you so much. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to take off that banner. I'm going to say hello to the lurkers. Hi, lurkers. Thanks for watching. Hi to replay crew. And now I'm going to say hello to those of you who are brave enough to venture into the chat. So just a few rules of the chat. Everybody's entitled to their opinion as long as they don't attack anybody else. We don't promote our, if you're on my channel chatting, it's not to promote your channel or anybody else's. We don't mention other channels on this channel because we don't like to upset anybody. So the best way of not upsetting anybody is to just not mention other channels. I mean, and certainly, I don't really appreciate people coming on my channel and promoting their channels, but because I wouldn't do that to them. But anyway, thanks for watching. So we just keep within the rules of the chat. We're always courteous to each other. If not, we don't really last very long, do we? Okay, so let's say hello to those of you who are here. Hi, Angel. Hi, Bluebell. Hi, David. Sorry. Hi, Excel. Yeah, probably, David. The missing phone will be with the missing plates in a bin somewhere after a 9-second toilet stop when you've got diarrhea, or, who knows where she's put them. But yeah, it's funny that the phone, it's not good ever, is it, when a phone disappears? Hi, Darren. There's got to be a reason. Hi, sheep farming. There's got to be a reason why this phone's missing. And that's what we're going to look at. So let's see how the day started. I hope you're all well, by the way. We're halfway through the week. It's Wednesday, miércoles in Spanish. Soon be weekend for those of you who look forward to the weekends because you're working or whatever. So, right. So, I've been following this ABC Australia blog, which I think has been as good as any blog. The problem we've got is this is not a televised trial. We can only get second-hand, what's reported back from the different media that are allowed to attend. So, yeah, the judge decided it wouldn't be televised, but the media are free to report on any evidence that comes up, though they're not allowed to pass on photos or videos or anything like that, but they're allowed to report on any evidence that has come up during this trial. And that's where we're getting our information from, secondhand, unfortunately. But it's better than nothing. At least we are getting information as it goes along. It's not all kept a secret. So we were expecting to hear more evidence from Detective Leading Senior Constable Stephen Eppinstall, who's the police informant in the case. So yesterday we heard from him. We heard about the interview that Erin had with the police. There's this saga of the plates. So for anybody who doesn't know what the saga of the plates is, when these beef Wellingtons, which were individual beef Wellingtons, were served up on that fateful lunch day, the survivor, Ian Wilkinson, insists that the 4 guests were served their beef Wellingtons on grey plates that were a different colour and size to the plate that Erin served to herself, which was orangey colour and a different size. Now, these grey plates, it turned out yesterday, nobody knows where they are. They weren't in Erin's kitchen when the police went to search. So where, as you regular watchers will know, I'm obsessed with plates. Where are they? Where are these plates? Anyway, they're not in Erin's kitchen, that's for sure. So now we're going to hear a bit more from this detective. I'm not going to go into what we heard yesterday because you can find that on the playlist. All the other episodes all the other videos are on the playlist. So, slight delay to the evidence, but finally, Detective Leading Senior Constable Stephen Eppinstall returned to the stand, and they were reminded that before proceedings finished for the day yesterday, the jury was shown CCTV footage at a subway. So do you remember the video showed Erin's car arriving at the subway. Her son got out of the car and then the car drove away and returned 11 minutes later. But the police don't know where Erin went in that time. Is that when she disposed of the plates, or was she disposing of anything else? Where did she go and what did she do in that 11 minutes? That seems to be like a bit of a bone of contention. Okay. Sorry, I just got distracted there. So yeah, where was Erin in those 11 minutes? So the jury is shown a table titled CCTV Timestamp Accuracy, which outlines a few places where CCTV footage is being used as evidence in the case. And it notes that the Leongatha Hospital CCTV timestamp is 1 hour and 42 minutes ahead. I don't know if that makes any difference to the evidence, but yeah, these CCTV timestamps are out of kilt, aren't they? The subway Leongatha CCTV is an hour behind, and only the BP, Caldermead and Coomwarra transfer station are running on time. So we go back to Erin's daughter's police interview. So Erin and her estranged husband, Simon, have 2 young children who also ate these beef Wellingtons, or at least the leftovers. But Erin said that she scraped off the mushroom paste, and the children only ate the beef and the pastry. Now, that was a strange thing, because then when it transpired that the 3 people, well, the 4 guests were so severely ill, I mean, very severely ill, Erin was reluctant to take her children to the hospital to be checked out. And not only Erin discharged herself from the hospital 5 minutes after being told that she may need a liver transplant, she, discharged herself, but not only that, she refused initially to take the children to be checked out, even though really, if she didn't know for certain that, where the death cap mushrooms were, there was a strong possibility that her children had ingested some of these mushrooms as well. So that was another damning thing against Erin, wasn't it? So a few quick questions are asked about Erin's daughter's police interview, which the jury has previously been shown. So the jury have actually seen the interview. We didn't get to see the interview. We just got to hear the media's version of the interview. And in that interview, Erin's daughter said she had not been to any Asian grocer with her mum. And prosecutor Jane Warren asks LASC Eppinstall if he is aware that she told a child witness support person that she once did go to an Asian type food place for cooking when she rewatched the tape, and he says yes. So Erin's claim, just to remind you, is that she bought these mushrooms in an Asian supermarket. They were not labelled. She bought them a few months before. She was going to put them in a carbonara, but she decided not to, because when she opened the package, she thought it smelled too strong. Dried mushrooms they were. And then when she was making the beef Wellington, she decided that strong sort of mushroomy smell would be good for the beef Wellington. So she fished out these mushrooms and, did whatever she did with them. The other thing that we have to remember is her dehydrator, which initially she said to the police she didn't have a dehydrator, but it turned out she actually did, and she had told all her Facebook friends about it. When her dehydrator was found, where she dumped it at a waste station, it had traces of death cap mushrooms in it. So death cap mushrooms had definitely been in Erin's dehydrator. So the court is shown a screenshot of an account type form. It contains Erin's name and contact details, then a long list of Woolworths Leongatha purchases, some of which have been highlighted in yellow. On July the 23rd, the following items are highlighted: 2 times 500 grams of sliced mushrooms, a kilogram of WW puff pastry. I can't remember what that was the name of the make, wasn't it? Phyllo, in fact, I've got a picture of it here somewhere. Let's have a look. Yeah, I had a picture of those, the pastry, remember? This was the pastry apparently she used, this Pampers. I mean, it said MM there. I don't know what that means. Anyway, this apparently is the pastry, the puff pastry, the brand that she used, and also she used a combination of that puff pastry with some phyllo pastry. That's what we heard a couple of days ago. So, you know, so, you know, what can you say about this? What can you say? What else? So what do they say? Let's go back to it. So, yeah, what is WW puff pastry? If anybody knows, let me know. Phyllo pastry, shallot onions, and the list suggests that July the 23rd was quite a big grocery day, with other items not highlighted, including some bulla raspberry splits, salami, shaved turkey. What does that mean? Yogurt, parmesan, spinach, a Danish, and some less snacks. Again, I don't, you know, a lot of this, I don't know what shaved turkey is. I mean, I know what yogurt is and parmesan and spinach. And what's a less snacks? I don't know what a bulla raspberry split is either. So I don't know if they're things that are particular to Australia, or maybe they're just things I don't know. More Woolworths purchases. So on July the 27th, another list details purchases of more puff pastry and phyllo pastry, beef eye fillets, and more sliced mushrooms. And on July the 28th, more puff pastry and phyllo pastry is listed, along with 1.5 kilograms of mashed potato and 340 grams of cleaned beans. But she bought a lot of pastry, didn't she? Some Gravox gravy and more beef eye fillet is also highlighted. So then it goes on to say that the police visited the mushroom wholesaler, and LSC Eppinstall confirms there are 4 wholesalers that distribute mushrooms to Woolworths, but there are only 2 that supply to a Leongatha store. And he says that an officer attended one wholesale facility in Menda on September the 6th, 2023. He says he was taken on a tour of the facility and also shown the process of cultivating mushrooms from start to finish, including soil gathering, picking, and packaging. And the whole tour was recorded. 2 other purchases are shown, listed as occurring on July the 30th. They are at the BP Caldermead and what sounds like a donut business at Cooeyrup. A separate receipt for the BP Caldermead shows the purchase comprised of TNT multicolour blister, which LSC Eppinstall identifies as a type of chewing gum, along with a ham, cheese and tomato sandwich and a sweet chili chicken wrap. Sounds nice. The BP Caldermead purchase amounts to $13.10. Now, this to me, and I think to all of us, this is key, because Erin had said that she had cancer, and there is no evidence of cancer. No evidence of cancer, and that's what comes up next. We are now hearing about Erin's medical records. LSC Eppinstall says he was aware that Erin told the lunch guests she had been diagnosed with cancer. He tells the court he went to a series of local health organisations to obtain medical records for Erin Patterson. He also contacted the cancer registry, which showed there was no evidence of any diagnosis of cancer. Lunch survivor Ian Wilkinson previously told the court that Erin Patterson had told her lunch guests she had recently been diagnosed with cancer and they had prayed for her after the meal. This is something else, isn't it, that is chilling, I think. So, if Erin is guilty, not only she sat there, watched these people eat what she knows is going to make them very ill at the very least, if not actually know that is going to kill them. Not only that, but then she's told them she's got cancer and they've all sat and prayed together for her. It's really chilling what Erin has done. If she's guilty, if she's found guilty, it is, just a horrible, horrible thing to do. More horrible than most things that I've ever seen, to be honest, with the planning of it, just the callousness of it. So the court is shown a copy of a diary with a week layout across a double page. And this is Gail's diary. Now let's have a look at Gail. So Gail, let's have a look at her. So out of the 4 people, Gail is the second one in from the left here. And Gail is Erin's estranged husband's mother. That's his father, Don, and this is Gail. And they all died. I mean, Don and Gail died. Gail, she only ate half of her lunch because she couldn't finish it all. She said it was delicious. It wasn't because she didn't like it. It was just apparently a very big portion. So she only ate half of it, and Don, her husband, finished off the other half. But anyway, both Don and Gail and Heather died. So this is Gail's diary that we're looking at here. Just to let you know, it's Gail, this second person in. It's her diary. Lunch with Erin and her children is entered on the 24th of June, 2023. A little later, on June the 28th, she's written Erin, St. Vincent's, arm lump. So Erin has definitely told her she has a lump on her arm, because why would she write that otherwise? This is very compelling evidence, I think, because why would, let me just take that off actually. Why would Gail write that in her diary? Erin, St. Vincent's, arm lump. There's absolutely no reason to write that, is there? Unless she had been told that. So I think we can, this case to me has been very intriguing because, for lots of reasons, but one of the reasons it's been intriguing is we are getting testimony even from the deceased. So although these poor people died as a result of whatever happened that day, they are giving testimony. So here's Gail's diary telling us, it's clear as day, that Erin, St. Vincent's, arm lump. And there's absolutely no reason why Gail would write that in her diary, is there, unless Erin had told her that she had an arm lump and she was going to St. Vincent's. Why else would it be there? So the week layout for the week of the lunch is blank, except for an entry stating lunch at Erin's with Heather and Ian on the 29th of July. And of course, that would be poor Gail's last diary entry because she never got a chance to do anything else after that. So the court hears there were no Medicare records of Erin visiting St Vincent's on June the 28th. And LSC Eppinstall says when the hospital was contacted, it also had no record of an appointment for Erin. So why did Gail write that in her diary? Because Erin obviously had told her she had an appointment because of a lump on her arm. But it wasn't true. Wasn't true. Erin, that's very compelling evidence, I think. That illustrates clearly that Erin is a liar. And lying about cancer. Anyway, there were no records of a biopsy or an MRI, but the court is shown a series of text messages between Erin and her mother-in-law, Gail Patterson, on June the 28th, the day that Gail had noted in her diary that Erin was due to have an appointment at St Vincent's to investigate a lump on her arm. There was this exchange. Gail: "Hi Erin, just wondering how you got on at your appointment today. Love, Gail and Don." So there's Gail asking about Erin's welfare. Yeah, how did she get on with this appointment that she never had, of course. But Gail didn't know that. Erin had lied to her. And Erin replied the next morning. So she didn't even reply straight away. "Oh, hi, Gail. Sorry, I've got to do an Erin voice. Hi, Gail. Oh, sorry, I'd taken my daughter to see a movie last night. We saw The Little Mermaid. The appointment went okay, thanks for asking. I had a needle biopsy taken off the lump, and I'm returning for an MRI next week, and we'll know more after the results of those two things." And that again was a complete lie. The hospital has no record of an MRI or a biopsy for Erin. And LSC Eppinstall tells the court there is no evidence Erin was ever referred for or obtained an MRI. Now, I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, or a biopsy. All of us have been touched by cancer one way or another in our lives. If, like me, you're lucky enough not to have had cancer, I touch wood, touch everything, touch wood, fingers crossed. I hope I never do, obviously. But I know people who have this. People in my family have been through hell. I know people who've died of it, and I'm sure we all do. I'm sure all of you who are watching this video, if you've not had it yourself, you'll know somebody who has, and you probably know somebody who did not survive it. So to hear that Erin lied about having it for whatever reason in her sick mind, it's really irritating, isn't it? It really makes us, dislike. And in I think I'm going to have to put the Pinocchio on. Oh, look, I can see a few of you have already put the Pinocchios on. Yeah. Well, that's not just, everyone tells little white lies every now and again, but this is like not a little white lie, is it? And it's insulting to people who have lost people with cancer. Is the dog now coming to give me a cuddle? It's an insult to people who've lost people with cancer, or even suffered cancer themselves and survived, or maybe are suffering cancer at the moment. Disgusting. Disgusting. And not only that, she went into this big story. Oh yeah, I had a needle biopsy taken of the lump. I'm returning for an MRI next week, and then we'll know more. What a horrible person. Even whether she's killed these people or not, just that, because that is true. There's the text right there and then, and the evidence from the policeman that she never had those tests. So that is true. She is a liar about her cancer. So apparently Gail told Erin she was praying for her, because we mustn't forget that the whole family, because was Don a pastor? Ian was a pastor. You know, they're very religious. They've got a lot of belief, a lot of faith. And so, you know, that is exactly the way that Gail would have spoken. So after Erin told her she had to wait for an MRI on the lump, Gail responded, "Stop. That's a test of patience, isn't it? Praying you will know God's peace. We're just ready to relax after an enjoyable time with people. Nice to have the fire warming us in this cold weather. Kiss." Later, Gail sends Erin another message asking how her medical tests went, and Erin replied, "Thank you for your message, Don and Gail. There's a bit to digest with everything that's come out of it all. I might talk about it more with you both when I see you in person." So she's it's a pity party for Erin, isn't it? She's trying to make everyone feel sorry for her. Total narcissist. Oh, a bit to digest with everything. Nothing wrong with her. Good God, it's so frustrating. Okay, then we've got the break. Oh no, we move on to Simon Patterson's phone records first. And LSC Epinstall tells the court Simon provided his phone and an extraction was conducted by LSC Epinstall and cybercrime experts. A bunch of messages were extracted from his phone, but we haven't heard about those yet. We've got those to come yet. The court instead decides to take a quick break. When they return, they start looking at cell tower connections. We'd previously heard evidence from telecommunications expert Dr. Matthew Sorrell, who said Erin's phone was connected to mobile phone towers in Loch and Outram. So remember, this is where the death cap mushrooms had been growing, and Erin's phone was linked there, wasn't it? Hi, Swin. Hi, Daniel. Yeah. Erin's phone had pinged in these areas where Funky Tom, the mushroom expert, had put on iNaturalist that these death cap mushrooms had been seen, and Erin's phone had been in the area. I think really, you know, the evidence has mounted up, hasn't it, against Erin. Prior to that, we'd also heard that an online post identified death cap mushrooms growing in those areas. So the court is shown extracts of signal messages from a mobile phone seized from Erin Patterson's home. They're between Simon and Erin, the court is told, and the exchange is on March the 10th, 2022 at 5:12 p.m. Simon says, "Hey, I think whoever their child is it basketball or baseball? I'm not sure. Tonight, are you geared up for it?" And Erin says, "Yes, although I don't know if I have b-ball shorts for him. I'll check." And then 2 minutes later, she comes back and she says, "Yeah, we have shorts, and his game is at 7:40. Then we're taken through more messages sent on Signal between Erin and her estranged husband, Simon. They are mainly talking about their children's sporting commitments and how well they were playing. At one stage, Erin asked Simon if he can come to one of the sporting games. Part of the message reads, Erin says, "Hey, I really hope you can come and see our son play b-ball this season, even if you have to miss a Bible study." There's a little dig there, isn't there? He's playing really well. So the court is then taken to messages between Erin and her Facebook friends. Oh, Erin was silly with her Facebook friends, wasn't she? gave them much too much information. So these messages were between 17th and 19th of December 2022. And in the first one, attributed to the user Erin, she says, "My phone screen is broken and it wouldn't respond to any commands or anything. Everything is on my phone. All my passwords are in my password vault. And I was trying to log on into it on my laptop and it was sending an authorization email to my emails, which I couldn't access because I didn't have my password, which was inside my vault." Now I'm laughing at that because I've got to say that's happened to me many times. She adds, "Anyway, I've been Googling everything, trying to get into my phone and emails and just couldn't. But then something suggested I could do a hard reboot of my phone and restart it in safe mode, and it might fix the frozen screen issue. And it worked for now. But the screen is broken and it might freeze again at any second. So now that I am in, I am copying down everything I need from it. Lol." And then her friend Jenny replied, "Oh, how stressful, Erin. Maybe you can get the screen fixed in NZ. Is that New Zealand? Is she in New Zealand? Where is she? Anyway, don't know what they mean by NZ. If they can do it quickly." And in response, Erin said, "Yeah, I'm going to see if I can I can tomorrow. It makes me realize how ridiculous it is that having a broken phone makes everything so difficult. I can't get into my banking on my laptop because it sends an authorization SMS to my phone, etc., etc. Like, how dumb am I to make everything dependent on my phone? I had to buy a new phone today because I couldn't get the other one fixed. I don't know why, but setting up a new phone is incredibly stressful for me. I got a Samsung Galaxy A23, the cheapest I could get while not being an absolute piece of shit phone. It was still $400 though. Seems like a lot of money for a shit phone." So anyway, a lot of dense technical evidence was walked through by the prosecution. It involves pages and pages of records connected to a SIM card, which the court hears were moved between devices in the months before the lunch. So he then, Mr. Eppinstall then tells the court that Erin supplied a Samsung Galaxy A23 to police at the end of the search warrant they conducted at her property on August the 5th. And he says that the SIM card in that phone was connected to a number ending in 835. And the court heard that the phone checks revealed that number had only been connected as of July the 11th. And LSC Eppinstall says it had been used in a tablet device until August the 3rd before it was put in the phone that was then handed to the police. So basically, are they saying that's not really her proper phone? The usage of that number was limited to data besides a few text exchanges. So maybe that's what they're inferring. So a second phone number they detected. They located another phone number attached to Erin's name, which ends in 783. And Mr. Eppinstall said police obtained phone records dating back to 2019. And the phone number ending in 783 is used for that entire period. Records show data usage, text messages, and calls between Erin and various people. And the court is shown a highlighted phone record, which is time-stamped to the afternoon the police were searching Erin's house a week before the lunch. And Mr. Eppinstall says the phone records show the SIM was swapped for a different one. It all gets technical, doesn't it? At 1:45 p.m. on the 5th of August 2023, we see the actual SIM card change from phone A into a different phone. LSC Eppinstall tells the court it's a Nokia mobile phone. So they're searching for this second phone. A further search warrant was executed at Erin Patterson's home on November the 22nd, 2023. The purpose of that search was to locate several items, including the other mobile phone we've been hearing about. And Mr. Eppinstall says that phone has never been located by the police. And that's when they break for lunch. So where is this missing phone? Probably alongside the missing plates, isn't it? You know, it's never a good sign. Never a good sign when somebody's phone goes missing, is it? Can't be a good sign, can it? You know, if somebody's trying not to give their phone to the police, just, you know, it's just not good, is it? Just not good at all. So what do we think? Let me know what you think. Did she deliberately hide that phone? Yeah. Anyway, so the hearing begins again. Rachel Brown, the journalist, says that Erin is today wearing a black long-sleeve top, and the evidence continues with more details of digital records being described. So, what did he have to say next? Oh, I need the updates. Now, I haven't read these yet because these were after I had classes, so I haven't read all these. So where have we got? So we got to the second phone, search for the second phone, the hearings resumed. So the prosecution goes through call logs. The prosecution moves through very long, where are we? Very long, a very, very long list of phone logs, jumping between different times and dates, with LSC Eppinstall describing how long the various calls lasted. But the prosecution doesn't go into great detail about each call. Then the court is taken to a digital analysis report of the Cooler Master computer, which was seized at Erin's home. And these specific reports are described by the prosecution as an artifact of Chrome website visits made on the computer. And it briefly flashes on the screen and includes visits made to several pages on the iNaturalist website on May the 28th, 2022. A new image is shown to the jury. It's a screenshot of the iNaturalist website, and it shows a map of the world with many red markers across several areas, including a dense swathe of red over Europe. And in the search bar at the top, the word death cap can be seen. So she was searching for death cap mushrooms. This is the evidence that's being presented. Now, have you ever searched for death? Well, I may have searched for death cap mushrooms now, because after this case, but I can certainly say I'd never searched for death cap mushrooms before. No, I wonder, have any of you ever searched for death cap mushrooms? before you heard about this case? You know, I didn't even know what they were. Let's just have a little look at them again. So, of course, these are the death cap mushrooms. They look very innocuous, don't they? Just look like normal mushrooms. They don't look poisonous. They don't look scary. They don't look like these are the mushrooms that are put in this picture with Erin, because I think they're more striking looking. But they're not the ones. No, you could see that if you were foraging for mushrooms, which Erin said she's never foraged for mushrooms, you could see that you could look at them and they do look like normal mushrooms, don't they? But so the image taken to the court was taken in December 2024. Having said that, I think that was after, wasn't it? Wasn't it 2023? Anyway, the judge tells the jury to note that aspects of the site may have changed between that date and Erin Patterson's alleged visits. So she's allegedly visited the sites on May the 28th, 2022, exactly 3 years ago. Mr. Eppinstall tells the court the red dots represent reported sightings of death cap mushrooms that had been uploaded. Then they looked at a screenshot where that map was focused on the wider Melbourne region, still searching for death cap. A list of recent death cap sightings is generated in a column to the side. Mr. Eppinstall notes that this 2024 screenshot will have different sightings to the version that Miss Patterson allegedly accessed in 2022. And the next image is one specific sighting of a death cap mushroom listed on iNaturalist by a user. And the pin is at Bricker Reserve, Moorabbin, in Melbourne's southeast for an observation in May 2022. So then the Corumburra Middle Hotel website was visited with results showing several entries. Well, the search term was Corumburra Middle Pub, and the first thing that came up was the Corumburra Middle Hotel website. And the next image is of the Corumburra Hotel's main landing page. Then a pop-up window titled the Middle Corumba Hotel Pick-Up Delivery. Oh, so she was feeling peckish, was she? So the next image is a Bing search for iNaturalist, which brings up a list of results. The first one being the iNaturalist website we've heard a lot about during the trial. Mr. Eppinstall confirms these screenshots were made by taking URLs from a digital forensic analysis of the computer taken from Erin Patterson's home and putting them into a browser. And after the Bing search result, we see another page of the iNaturalist homepage. So we're now being shown a food order from the Corumburra Middle Pub on May the 28th, 2022. Mr. Eppinstall says home delivery to Erin's home was requested for the family meal, and the order is garlic bread, 2 chicken parmigiana, kids burger, kids fish, Coke no sugar. Sorry. 1.25. It's like what I do when I go to, and which I don't do very often. In fact, I can't remember the last time I went to McDonald's or anywhere like that. But if I do go, you order all your burgers and your chips and that, and then it's Diet Coke. So it makes you feel better, doesn't it? You're eating all that rubbish, but Diet Coke, please. No, I mean, to be honest, now, because I've not had sugar drinks for so long, Diet Coke, diet, everything. You can't actually, if I have a Coke that's got the sugar in it, tastes disgusting. I've got so used to Diet Coke now. But yeah, maybe it saves you that few calories even though you're eating all the, like you're eating the 2 chicken parmigianas or whatever they are. Take it there from her because then she's got the kids' burger and the kids' fish. So I'll take it. The chicken things are both for her, but it's okay because she had Diet Coke. But I'm not being. I do that as well. Just makes you feel a little bit better. Oh, now Mr. Mandy is cross-examining Mr. Eppinstall. Let's have a little look again at Colin. We've looked at Colin a couple of times. He's definitely earned his money this week. Sometimes he starts late and finishes early, but I'd say this week he's definitely earned his money, hasn't he? Because he's been there and he's been doing all the questioning. So he definitely has earned his money this week. There he is, Colin Mandy, the defence lawyer. Okay, where am I? So, after kicking off with some fairly straightforward questions, he flags his intention to take the detective to some photos from an SD card. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I got an SD card so that I can take longer videos because I've been trying to take videos outside and then I haven't got enough storage on my phone. And I still haven't put this bloody SD card in yet. Oh, I've got to do that. There's loads of videos I want to take outside. Anyway, so there was a bit of waffle. So he took the detective to some photos from an SD card. There's an objection from the prosecution and an interruption to the public hearing. So then the jury comes back and defence lawyer Colin Mandy continues asking questions. They're speaking about Erin's health records, which LSC Eppinstall earlier told the court he had looked into as part of his investigation. He says he can't recall any records prior to 2023 which relate to concerns that Erin may have had cancer. Mr. Mandy introduces some medical records from October the 21st, 2021 from a medical centre in Leongatha. And the last paragraph says, Erin worries about ovary cancer. She has been Googling her symptoms. And an ultrasound and MRI were booked later in that same year. So that is really, from what we can see, the only thing in her medical records about cancer is that she worries about it. And it said an MRI was booked later in that same year. But remember earlier, when Erin said she was going for that MRI, there was no record of one. So, apparently there's a family history of ovarian cancer. The defence takes the court to what it describes as Erin Patterson's medical records from 2021 and 2023. In a series of medical notes, a doctor describes Erin being worried about ovarian cancer in October 2021. Erin has been Googling her symptoms. I think we all do a bit of that, don't we? And it is a bit dangerous because if you Google your symptoms, there's all sorts of things come up, aren't there? And she thinks her symptoms may be suggestive of ovary cancer. Tests were scheduled to investigate, with some early results all fine, but further tests were ordered by doctors. The record states she had a family history of ovarian cancer in aunties on both her dad and mum's side of the family. We're then taken to signal messages between Simon and Erin between January the 4th and 5th in 2022. In the first one shown, Simon asks, "How's your back today?" And Erin replies saying, "It's getting better each day. It's my heart that's troubling me. I'm struggling with the energy to do basic things like get in and out the car. And after I have a shower, I need to lie down and rest because the whole ordeal exhausts me. I think we need to upgrade our health insurance so I can start chewing through the waiting period. Okay, so her back's getting better, but her heart's worrying her. She later tells him it's a lot of things combined, and she says she's been doing a lot of research on right-sided heart failure, and the symptoms all fit what I've been experiencing. And she's a bit of a hypochondriac, isn't she? The thing is, I'm not, maybe she had right-sided heart failure, but the place to go, of course, if you really do think you've got that, is to go to the doctor. Later in the exchange, while discussing access to health services, Simon texts, "We actually do okay for health services where we live compared to backwaters such as Tassie and WA, which I have no idea where they are." The jury is then shown a record of Erin Patterson's Leongatha Hospital admission form on July the 31st, 2023. When you think about it, this is a woman that it seems is like quite health conscious, worrying about her health, worrying she's got ovarian cancer, worrying she's got heart failure. But when she was told she might need a liver transplant because she might have ingested these mushrooms, she just discharged herself. She didn't seem to care about that, did she? This is a woman who seems to be a bit of a hypochondriac, but then when she's told that she may be like fatally ill, just says, well, I'm going home. So this was 2 days after the fatal lunch. Erin's religion is recorded as Christian and her marital status as married. Not separated. Remember, she got really arsey with Simon, didn't she? Because he put his marital status as separated on his tax form. Her next of kin contact is listed as Simon Patterson, and her emergency contact is Gail Patterson. Colin Mandy then takes Mr. Eppinstall to the events around Erin discharging herself against medical advice from Leongatha Hospital. He refers to her historical dealings with 2 hospitals before bringing up a discharge at own risk form for Erin from January the 24th. The template printed form has handwritten entries, including Erin Patterson's name, and states she left Gippsland Southern Health Service under a full mental capacity. Mr. Mandy raises with the court more medical notes related to that episode, which described Miss Patterson as agitated in the time before she left. The patient became... Come here and lie down. The patient became fidgety and anxious, stating she wanted to be discharged. Patient was now out of bed, walking around, pacing, and asked the nurse to stop the IV and disconnect so she could leave. Oh, that's the last one. Oh, it's always when it's starting to get interesting, it finishes, isn't it? So the court has been adjourned. And that is the end of Wednesday's evidence. We've certainly had a full 3 days of evidence this week. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted reading all this part. I've got up this morning, done about, I think I got up at 6, can't even remember. Did a quick video about this, a crime that we've had here in Spain. Then I did 2 classes, and then, these are long, sometimes when I've been reading out like the evidence that's been heard, it's been quite short, isn't it? Like Fridays are always a short one, but it's certainly been a full week of evidence this week, hasn't it? So apparently tomorrow we're expecting Detective Senior Constable Stephen Eppinstall to carry on talking tomorrow, being questioned by the defence lawyer Colin Mandy, who's really getting into it, isn't it? So let's have, or let's watch. What's this? Yeah, we'll watch. They always, this Alexandra Alvaro, she always does a little, what's the word? A little summary. Let's watch the summary, and then I'll give the summary I'll read out the summary. Because I then will upload this on TikTok, because people have been interested in TikTok, but of course TikTok, it's shorter videos. I like to put a summary on at the end. Let's have a look at this.
Hi, Alex. So what have we heard so far today?
Well, we've been wading through some very complex data related to phones connected to Erin Patterson, and that evidence is being delivered through Detective Stephen Eppinstall. He is the police informant in this case. Now, the jury has been shown a phone record, which is time-stamped to the afternoon that homicide detectives searched Erin Patterson's home. This is about a week after that Beef Wellington.
Yeah, the thing is, and I'm talking as someone who's been overweight myself and is overweight, and you do sometimes, you haven't got as much energy, when she's saying about, she's just somebody in the chat was saying about, she is overweight, it's not being nasty. I mean, she just is. So that won't help with her energy levels, etc. Now, I don't think she works, does she, Erin? So, yeah, there are some days, especially if it's hot, maybe when it's a hot day there in Australia and she gets up and, I feel like that in July and August. You always, God, you've never got much energy with the heat and everything. So she gets up and everything, she just takes it out. It doesn't mean she's ill. It just means maybe she could lose a couple of stone. I'm sure she would feel better. Anyway, to me, somebody who is that worried about their health, imagine you're worried that you may have like heart problem or ovarian cancer. And then you're told that you might have ingested death cap mushrooms and you might need a liver transplant, and you just discharge yourself. I mean, just doesn't make sense, that to me.
Lunch, and just a reminder, Erin Patterson is accused of murdering 3 of her estranged husband's relatives by serving them a beef Wellington lunch containing death cap mushrooms. She's pleaded not guilty. Now, Detective Eppinstall said that phone record shows that at 1:45, which is when he says this police search was taking place, that a SIM card was being changed from one phone that's dubbed Phone A into another phone, a Nokia phone. Now, when it comes to Phone A, Detective Eppinstall has told the jury that phone was never recovered. He says that another search was conducted of Erin Patterson's home in November 2023, a few months after the lunch, and he says Phone A was never found. And we've heard about a few phones in this trial. There's also a phone that's been dubbed Phone B. This is a phone that prosecutors allege underwent 4 factory resets.
Alex, the jury has also been shown what appear to be text messages between the accused and her mother.
Yeah, the fact they can't find that phone is definitely suspicious. I mean, where is she saying it is? I mean, funnily enough, we've got loads of phones in this house at the moment, because there's phones, you never know what do you do with an old phone. I've got at least one old phone, and there's probably another 2 in there from my son. We've got a couple of computers, between us that we don't use anymore. What do you do with them? But the thing is, you'd know where they are. If I took those phones, I don't know, where is she saying? Well, I think the point I'm trying to make is, where is she saying that phone is? Is she saying she threw it in the garbage, or is she saying she gave it away to someone? Are we going to hear from Erin to see where this phone is? Because if somebody said to me, if they brought up her phone, what about this phone that you had? I say it's in the drawer over there, because her phones are just sort of lying there. Where are her phones? And I would like to get rid of them, but I just don't know what to do with them. That is the honest truth. But I've not got quite as many as Richard Allen had. But, you know, I've got maybe 2, and maybe 2 from number 1 son as well.
In-law, what did they say?
Yeah, so just a bit of background first. The trial has previously heard that Erin Patterson told her lunch guests at that Beef Wellington lunch that she had been diagnosed with cancer. And we heard that from Ian Wilkinson. He is the sole surviving guest of that lunch, and he gave evidence earlier in the trial. And Erin Patterson's defence has conceded that that cancer diagnosis was not true. Erin Patterson was never diagnosed with cancer. But today the jury was shown a diary entry from the diary of Gail Patterson, one of the lunch guests. And the diary entry was for Wednesday, the 28th of June, 2023. It's about a month before the Beef Wellington lunch. And the entry said Erin St. Vincent's arm lump. Now, the jury was also shown a text message from that same day, the 28th of June, and it was from Gail Patterson to Erin Patterson. It was asking Erin how her appointment went that day. Erin replied saying, it went well. I had to have a needle biopsy and I'll have to undergo an MRI. Now, Detective Eppingstall, the informant, said that police identified no record of Ms. Patterson undergoing a needle biopsy or any appointment, any scheduled appointment for an MRI.
So there you go. There's a couple of things that just can't be got away from. She lied about having cancer. Her phone can't be found. You know, I mean, that's just a couple of things. As I say, I'm not going to go through everything. If you want a catch up, you know, to find all the different things, it's on the playlist. All the videos are on the playlist that's in the description box of this video. So let's just have this summary. So Detective Leading Senior Constable Stephen Eppingstall. God, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Returned to the stand today. He's the prosecution's last witness, which means we're getting closer to the end. Oh, the last witness. So what is the defence going to put up? Are they going to put Erin up there, I wonder? So it sounds like the prosecution might finish tomorrow. I sort of hope so, to be honest, because this week has been intense. So, and of course, better for poor Ian, who's Ian Wilkinson, the only survivor. You know, he's going there every day. There he is. He's going there every day. He's got to sit through all this. So the sooner it finishes, the better for the family, I would imagine, don't you think? You know, I bet they can't wait. So they can't wait for the end of it, I expect. Gosh, I'm exhausted, and it's not, you know, I'm just reporting on it. God knows if you're actually involved in it. So, defence barrister Colin Mandy began questioning Mr. Eppingstall towards the end of the day, but we ran out of time, so returning the stand tomorrow for more questioning. This is what we learnt. He told the court a SIM card was swapped from one phone to a Nokia mobile phone during the police search of Erin's home in August 2023. Erin told Facebook friends she had purchased a new phone when hers was broken and had learned about doing a hard reboot. Text messages sent in the weeks before the lunch were shown to the court. In them, Erin told her mother-in-law, Gail Patterson, that she had a needle biopsy. This is a terrible lie. It's such an awful lie. She told her mother-in-law that she had a biopsy taken of a lump. She never had that biopsy and needed an MRI. Mr. Eppingstall says his investigation found no evidence of either. Then we saw Erin's purchase history, Woolworths reward card, showing that the week before the lunch she purchased mushroom slices, puff pastry, frozen phyllo pastry, among other items from the supermarket giant. And number 5, during cross-examination, the defence introduced earlier medical records from 2021, where Erin raised concerns about ovarian cancer and the initial results, according to medical notes, were all fine. So there we go. This woman, this hypochondriac, thinks she's got ovarian cancer, thinks she might have heart problem. But when she's told she might need a liver transplant, she discharges herself after 5 minutes. Very telling, all that. Okay, so that's it. That's the summary. That's it for today. But I'll be back in the morning when they're back to let you know what happens tomorrow. And it sounds like we're getting to the end of it, thankfully. And, you know, the question that's on all our minds, I think, is Erin going to take the stand when the defence come to present their case? Or, you know, are they going to call Erin? Who are they going to call? You know, who are they going to call? Anyway. Okay, so thank you so much. Please, 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 if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Press your notification bell. Press for all notifications. And yeah, why not press the like button? This is free, completely free. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for everything. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And may your God go with you. But, you know, as soon as I start sort of rounding up, this Princess Tia, she knows I'm nearly finished when she hears me saying, may your God go with you. And she comes straight over. It's like, oh, you're finished now. You're finished now. Come and give me some attention. Okay, bye-bye.